Hi green lovers, I'm standing next to this elevated self-watering planter that is made by a company called Cedarcraft. Now this planter is commonly available in Costco. In fact, I saw it there even this weekend, and I've seen it on Amazon. So a lot of people have bought it and actually probably considering buying it because Costco usually sells good quality stuff, right? But I have the benefit of having had this for a while. In fact, I bought it from someone on Nextdoor who bought it in summer of last year. And so this is showing some wear and tear, and there's some good things about it. But I want to share with you both the good as well as the bad and the ugly, because there are some things that you really need to know about this if you're intending to spend something like $150, which is what it sells for in Costco before tax, and also without this greenhouse on top of it. So obviously this video is not sponsored. It is an honest to goodness review, and I will tell you the good things as well as some of the not so good things so that you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to buy it. Now, like I said, I bought this from someone on Nextdoor and I paid $50 for it. But if I were to buy it today, would I pay full price for it? Let's talk about the pros and cons, and then I'll give you my answer. First off, the planter itself is 21 inches wide, 47 inches long, and 32 inches tall, including the wheels, and it holds about 4.8 cubic feet of soil. What you get from Costco in store is the base planter without the greenhouse. And like I said, I've seen it in my local Costco for $149.99 US dollars plus tax. Now, the upper greenhouse is an optional add-on, and while I have not seen it in store at Costco, I have seen it offered online at Costco and as a package with the planter. You can also buy the greenhouse and planter on Amazon as well as on the Cedarcraft company website, but it's significantly more expensive than what it sells for at Costco. Now, the really interesting feature of this greenhouse is that it's self-watering. There's a water tank under it that holds 6 gallons of water, and there's a separator plastic bit that contains these wells that dip into the water. And when filled with soil, the wells act as a wicking mechanism to pull water into the planter. Pretty cool. And the way that you know if there is water in the tank is from this cute little floater. If it's bobbing up and down when you push it, then you know there is water. Otherwise, it just sinks down. So that's the first pro. I think it's a pretty nifty concept, having a self-watering planter that allows you to go away for a few days and not have to worry about your plants dying because of lack of water.
Second, this planter can hold quite a bit of soil, about 4.8 cubic feet, and that's more than the capacity of my large half whiskey barrel planters, which hold about 4 cubic feet. And with that much soil, you can grow some pretty large tomato and pepper plants, though I'd still opt for the smaller varieties just logistically. I don't want them to grow so big that I cannot reach the top easily. And get this, the self-watering mechanism can actually double up as a hydroponic system if you add some nutrients to it. That way you can fit even more plants into it and they won't compete since their roots will have access to the nutrients from the water system below. Hey folks, if you're getting value from this video so far, I sure would appreciate it if you'd hit the like button.
So I finally get to do an update on my single seed challenge. I've been waiting for Mother's Day, which is today, when I'm going to plant it. And until then, it's been sitting in this elevated planter. One of the nice things about this is that it is self-watering. And so I can leave this and go on vacation and come back and still be sure that it gets water, which is actually what I did last week because I had buried this into the soil in this container. And let me pull it out here. If you look under it, oops. If you look under it, see all those roots? Those roots were reaching into the soil and giving this beautiful plant all the nutrients that it needed while I was on vacation. But look at this gorgeous plant. It's not like your typical tomato plant. It's got like almost like a canopy of leaves versus your regular tomato plants. Kind of look something like this. They're more vertical. This one is like, it's just spreading its gorgeous wings, and it is really ready to go in the ground, which is what we're going to do today.
Thirdly, I love that it is elevated. The design makes it so much easier on the back, and I would imagine that this could also be a big benefit for people that have more limited mobility. Lastly, this planter has a really good convenience in that it is movable. It has these caster wheels, two of which have stoppers on them. So if you end up in a spot that is too sunny or too shady, you can carefully move it to another spot in your garden.
Okay, so that's it for the good things about this planter. Now let's get into some of the not so good things, the bad and the ugly.
First, the greenhouse cover is not made very well at all. You can see that it is literally falling apart at the seams. I tried using some duct tape to stick it back, but that did not work well. I'll obviously need to do something better here. Also, the steel frame has some pretty flimsy plastic joints. You see how it looks like the entire frame is angling to the right? No, that's not my camera that's doing that. You see this color of the plastic here changing to white? That's because it's breaking. So while I really like the concept of the greenhouse cover, the product itself is pretty flimsy and I do not recommend it. Note that the one that you get in Costco does not come with the greenhouse top, but I have seen it online as an option. Secondly, I don't care much for the design and the material of the legs. These skinny legs tend to lean and angle, and frankly, I would have to be extremely careful if I try to move this. I'm frankly not too sure it can be safely moved without something breaking or coming loose. I would have preferred sturdy wooden or stronger metal legs that supported the whole planter better. Thirdly, the seal between the wooden boards on the side and the planter structure is not tight. You can see a pretty significant gap, so I'm using this piece of plastic to cover the gap before I fill it with soil. And while it's an easy fix, the instructions do not say anything about the planter needing to be lined with anything. Lastly, I've heard some reports that the bottom could fall out. In fact, look at this. It is falling out on the side here. So we are going to have to take this apart and see what's going on. Note that we bought this pre-assembled and I did not think to check that everything was ticked and tied together properly before I filled it up. But yeah, keep an eye on that, especially if you're planning to move it.
Okay, so we worked through the pouring rain and got this thing all set up. We emptied out all the soil. My husband took a look at it and he put some screws in place, did some reinforcements, made sure that everything was nice and firm. And it looks like it was mostly pilot error, I would say. The previous owner didn't do a good job of making sure that all the screws were properly tightened and missed a really, really important screw at this end. And that was what was causing that water container to dip. And so I want to give the company the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it was the fault of the design of the planter. It was more the fault of the owner who put it together previous to me. So my husband has promised me that it is looking really good and that it is not going to fall apart. And I trust him. He's a handyman and he fixes things really well. And we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. Now, the real question. Would I pay full price? Would I pay $149.99 to buy this if I were to go to Costco today? No, probably not. I'd wait for a sale. But would I buy it? Absolutely. I think I would buy it. And is it a good deal at $50? Oh yeah, it's a good deal at $50 because in the worst case, if things start to fall apart on this, I can make a much better planter with good sturdy wooden legs and all of that. And I can use some of the parts from this. The wicking system is really awesome, so I will reuse that. And I will have my own good sturdy planter, maybe with a little shelf at the bottom and all of that. So yeah, absolutely got a good deal and my plants are really happy. I planted them all up and I've got a little garden here that I can jump out and quickly grab some basil or a tomato or something like that right outside my door. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, folks. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked my review and do subscribe to my channel if you like content like this. And until next time, live green and love your greens.
And one very important tip, folks, do not fill this thing all the way to the top, much as the temptation might want you to do so. This thing gets really, really heavy. When the manufacturer says 4.8 cubic feet, do not go over that limit. It puts too much pressure on the bottom, and that was probably also what was causing that bottom part to start to give way.
Okay, so we're using this jack, which is used to lift our car, to lift this thing. We've got a piece of wood over there that's we're using to push it up, and we've pushed the soil up. And my husband says that there is a missing screw, so the screw has fallen off.